Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. As we've got a really cool interview here, we've got Mitch Smith of Breed Wrestling out of Sheffield, England. He is the promoter of the company, and they really got on our radar recently when they ran their show, Starrcave. Now, Nick is the one that brought it to my attention, so Nick, take it away.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you watch only WWE, only AEW, I don't care. You need to watch Starrcave. It's fucking phenomenal. These dudes are in a cave, and we have the opportunity to have Mitch here on the show. And so what I want to know, Mitch, is a little bit about Breed. What is this company? What did the some of the grassroots of this company, and how did we get to wrestling in a cave? So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself first so people can have an idea of who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Mitch. I'm the booker for Breed Pro Wrestling. And yeah, we've been going since February this year, so we're quite a new company. We started in February this year, and we probably bought the website, and the idea came probably this time last year. That's when me and a group of my mates got together, and we were just like, let's put an independent professional wrestling company together. So we all worked together in a supermarket in Sheffield. And we all just pitch ideas to each other while we're working and things like that. And it's just like we all get on with each other through wrestling. And yeah, we just decided to put a company together and just book a few shows.
So you're standing in there, working in the maybe the fruit and veg department, stocking some stuff. Yeah, that was mine. And your man comes up to you and he goes, "Hey, let's start a wrestling promotion." At what point do you say, "That's awesome, but you know that cave down the street? Yeah, let's go fight in that." How did you guys decide to do something so innovative as the cave? Because again, we've seen wrestling on a cruise ship, we've seen wrestling in a mall, but to look at these photos, and Tim, throw these photos on screen now. You're in a goddamn cave. That's insane. Where did this idea come from?
Basically, the first show we did was in a picture house. It was like a 1920s ballroom, and then the second one was in the City Hall. And then we did a podcast interview with a podcast in Sheffield called The Grandest Stage, and they asked us for a dream venue. Like, where would you want to put your dream venue? And I've been to this cave where we're hired. I've been to a music gig there, so I knew it existed, and I knew it was there. And I went, my dream venue would be a cave. And they all started laughing like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And I was just like, no, honestly, I know a cave. And I think that's got a backup because they found it funny. So I think it was like 2 days later, we jumped in the car and drove to this cave and then started walking around and started talking to the owners about putting a wrestling show in there. And it just went from there, basically. And as soon as we turned up in there, we just fell in love with it. We just looked around and we were like, half the job is done. It just looks cool as hell. It doesn't matter who we book, really. People come to this cave and watch professional wrestling, but it just so happens that our rosters we've got a pretty talented roster, and it all just fell into place having a talented roster in a cave for what we believe is a cool wrestling show.
Absolutely, and what's cool to me is that people on social media took to it so well, and especially people on our podcast last week when we were talking about the show. A lot of people were thinking, this is really cool, this is interesting, I've never seen something like this before. The refrigerator in my room just turned on because it's super excited as well. So what was the initial fan reaction heading in? Did you have fans that were were the fans hot? Were they a little worried? What was that reaction going in for them?
So we usually get around 150 fans to our shows, and for this one we got 300 fans. So we were
nice.
150 of them are for the usual fans that come to every show, but at least half the people in that cave was new fans who's never seen us before, who was just come because it was in a cave. So
I mean, God, if any reason to go to a wrestling show, fuck it, it's in a cave.
Exactly.
For some of the talent, explaining to them, hey, we want to book you on this show, but here's the catch. Did you have any wrestlers that were a little skeptical of it, or super hyped for it? What was kind of the wrestlers' reactions to it?
Yeah. We had someone called Chris Brooks, who was quite a well-known wrestler in the UK, and he wrestles for DDT a lot in Japan, so he wrestles in a lot of unique venues as well. And when I think he heard about the cave, and he just tweeted us outright, saying, "Hey Breed, I want to wrestle in your cave," and it got 400 likes and retweets. So I think that was just perfect for us. So straight away we got Chris Brooks involved. And I think it just fell from there. Like on the British wrestling scene, every wrestler wanted to wrestle in a cave, which is hard as well because you've got all these cool wrestlers wanting to wrestle for you, but you also want to look after the guys who's been wrestling with you from day one. And I think we struck that balance right of keeping everyone who's our usual guys on the card and getting a couple of new guys in who can create a bit of buzz for us.
Absolutely. And, you know, with this show, and I really want to know, Tim, if you have any questions, please cut me off. Like, I'm asking all the questions because I'm just super interested in all the logistics behind this. You know, you guys ran this show, and what was your guys' kind of initial fears going into this? Were you guys worried that maybe people weren't going to come, or maybe, you know, something wouldn't have worked out? You know, what? Assumably, this is something that's a big risk.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So the cave is located probably 30 minutes out of Sheffield, which I don't know, your guys are from America, and 30 minutes from the city centre is nothing. It's quite a bit more of a big deal around where I'm from. So obviously we had to put on coaches for people to get on, which were a bit of an expense. We had to. There was definitely a worry that people wouldn't want to travel into the middle of we call it the Peak District, you know, where there was like big fields and farms, and so we had to. There was a worry that it's an expensive cave that we're hiring, and no one might not turn up, but. Yeah, the people took the day out, and it was like a little adventure, and people jumped on the coaches, and yeah, people turned up and rocked up.
Which is, and I love that too, because it's so interesting to see people get so excited over, you know, we've probably all been watching professional wrestling for the last, I don't know, since we came out of the womb, but to see people go, oh, cool, here's this wrestling thing, and it's in a cave. Like for me, this very much widens and broadens the reach that wrestling has in being something that's actually genuinely really entertaining and completely different from what you can see on television. Yeah. And I think that's where the charm of independent wrestling comes from.
There's so much wrestling out there, you know. It's for a company that's been out since February. We knew we had to do something to get the word out what breed wrestling's about. So we knew that this cave, it was a bit of an investment, but it was also a bit of a necessity to get our word out. Like, if it wasn't for the cave, there'd be no way I'd be talking to you guys right now. We would not be on your radar, you know what I mean? So we had to do something to stand out from the crowd, and the cave was. That's what the cave was, you know. It was an investment in marketing as much as an investment in a venue hire.
And I think that's one thing that fans really don't have the opportunity to see. When it comes into booking decisions and when it comes into venue decisions of, hey, cool, they're running the show in the cave, but on the back end, you know, no one thinks about like, geez, I wonder how much this is costing them, and I wonder how much, you know, how are they doing this and that, and so it's super great to see you being super transparent about everything, and we really do appreciate that here. Tim, things that you have to ask. I feel like I've dominated this entire conversation.
This is kind of like a two-part to what Nick just asked about, like the logistics and everything. You said that this show basically doubled your normal attendance. Did you guys do like pre-sale tickets and stuff and know that you were going to get this many more fans than normal? Or was it more of like a walk-up, and when you saw this many people there the day of, you were just kind of like, oh, wow, this is more than we were expecting?
Yeah, so when we put the tickets on sale, like usually when we put tickets on sale, we'll have like the hardcore 30 or 40 people who buy a ticket first every single show. And I love them 30 or 40 people to death, because they're the lifeblood of a promotion. You know, it won't be nothing without them. But this one was a bit different, because we put a little video out with David Starr and Speedball Mike Bailey attending the Starrcave show, and then we put the tickets on sale. It was like 8 o'clock our time, and I think we did like 100 tickets in the first like hour, and I'm like, wow, this is something different, you know what I mean? This is a different level to what we're used to, and it was kind of reassuring to know that we are making the right decision in what we did.
And I love that. I love knowing that you're making that right decision, and it was really the fans that help you realize that. And your guys' fans are some of the most faithful motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. There was people in the comment section of our video that were like, that's my local home promotion. These guys are the best. I saw comments like, I have a friend that trains. So, you know, seeing that support and outreach, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
We're blessed to have them, because our original Starrcave day was 12th of September. So we was ready to go 12th of September, but on I think it was the 7th of September, we got informed by the police and the council that we couldn't put the show on that date. and that's where a lot of the loss of income, because we had to rearrange. Like, we lost money on coaches, we lost money on portaloos, we lost the deposit on the venue. We had to pay wrestlers no flights for the next venue, so we had to move it back 4 weeks because the police had to check up on a few details. And when we cancelled the first show on the 12th of September, we had to put something out, and we were like, oh, this could go horribly wrong. But people, they stuck by us, and they realised we were a new company, and they kind of engaged with and stuck by us. And yeah, that was really proud.
So
go ahead, Tim.
Was the issue with the police and having to reschedule something like maybe on the venue, on you guys, or was it just all of a sudden out of nowhere kind of thing? There was
you need a particular wrestling license to run a wrestling show in the UK, and on the Cave's license, they had to give the council 28 days notice, and the guys who run the Cave, they didn't know that this rule existed. So the police rang up and says, 'cause then the police get the 28 days notice, and they look into the details of what health and safety is like in the venue. And because they didn't get that, they made us have 28 days notice till they rearranged it. So it was a mistake on our part and a mistake on the venue's part. But we held our hands up, and we didn't try and hide behind it or try and make any excuses. We just owned the mistake, basically.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's always easier to own up to it than rather to do shit to try to jerk it around. So I got to know, and I'm kind of jumping the gun with this question, but I want to know what's in your mind. You did the show in a cave. What do you have planned next? I know that the rest of this year is pretty empty. You guys had made that post saying that Starrcave really was a bit of a budget, and it did hurt a little bit.
Yeah, the rearranged date kind of cost us a bit, and we're trying to, like I say, we're a group of guys in the supermarket, so we're just trying to work more hours in the supermarket to recover. But in early 2020, we're hoping to get back at it, and I'm trying to think of where do you go from a cave, you know?
I think there's a cool garage that a host of a podcast lives in that he'd be more than happy to host a wrestling show in.
You would bring Brie to the Bay Area.
Well, now I want to know. They asked you before in a different podcast, you know, what is your dream venue? You have the cave. You've knocked that off the bucket list. Anything next? Anything super out there that we're going to manifest here today?
You know, I want to do a show on the moon, but there's no atmosphere.
God damn it. I thought he was going to take it serious for a minute. I was really hoping some very deep, heartfelt discussion. Nah, fuck it, the moon. I want the moon.
The moon.
Okay, we act like that's not possible. There's spacesuits.
Richard Branson is motivated to get us there.
That's fair. Let's do it, Tim. Start a Patreon right now. We're getting them to the moon.
You're going to try and take a bump, and they're going to float up instead of going down into the mat.
You lose the match by dying in space. Only the winners can return. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, there's a ton of people that were talking about the cave thing, and I really want to touch back real quick on the whole not running shows again until 2020 thing. That kind of stuff is hard, and that kind of stuff is really tough, especially once you had such a great outing like Starrcave. Yeah. So what was that talk like, you know, talking to some of the other people on your guys' on the Breed Wrestling team and maybe some of the wrestlers? Yeah,
it's a tough decision because like we feel like a star's at its most brightest, and we've kind of had to take a step back when a star's at its most brightest. So it's difficult, but it's kind of a necessity, you know. We need to like recover and just get our head around what's next for us. I think we've done something so outlandish and so out there. I just kind of want to. I won't mind bringing a few American independent guys over, and we've had Daniel McCarbe here before, and he's one of my favourite American independent wrestlers. And yeah, I think that's the idea now. I think just maybe have a few cool shows in regular venues, but just maybe try and get some 5-star matches together with some new matches, what we haven't seen before, some British wrestling guys and some American indie guys. So I think that's next on our radar.
I think that would be fantastic.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
And anything to really push this. I'm a big supporter, and I don't mean to say this because we have the booker on, and I want to look nice in front of him. Even before we had you on, just on the podcast, I'm a really big fan of like independent wrestling, and I'm a really big fan of obscure things. And maybe it's the marijuana influence, maybe it's a little bit of the bubbly influence. But my God, have I never seen something so entertaining and so interesting as Breed Pro Wrestling. So if you guys have not seen Starrcave yet, first of all, what are you doing? Get the fuck off this podcast and go watch. Mitch, how can the lovely people watch Starrcave?
So we are on Vimeo. So if you search for Breed Wrestling on Vimeo, it's $4 per show to download, and you can keep that forever. And we've got like 11 shows on there that you can watch. But we've also got a Patreon, which has got one of the main things we want to build is a community of wrestling fans, and Patreon kind of taps into that. So we've got a Patreon which is, I think that's $4 a month, so that's £3.20 in English money, and that's got all our shows on. We upload special interviews and little documentary series and things like that. So there's plenty going off on Patreon. And then we're on all the socials. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Bebo, on everything. MySpace.
So you say you guys started in February and you've already done 11 shows?
Yeah, we've run every single month, and there's a couple of shows we did. Very
ambitious.
It's fucking insane. It's insane. I'm so tired.
Hey, at least we know they're not just like, oh, we're gonna run every couple of months or once a month. No, they're going out there, and it seems like you guys are really going out there and trying to get the name of Breed Pro Wrestling to as many fans as possible with running as much as possible. And it just seems great that you guys have the passion and the what's the word I'm looking for? The I don't want to say power, the passion and the drive to build this as much as possible.
Yeah, we've got a good team around us. There's a guy called Ant the editor who's on Twitter, and he records all our shows, and he's a big driving force for us. And we've got a couple of guys called HFP Films who do our promos and what have you, and they're a big support on show day. So we've got a good team around us, and there's no way we could do it all on our own without the team around us. You know what I mean? So it makes it easy and it makes it fun, and all. It's like one gang trying to bring pro wrestling to Sheffield every month.
I think that's fantastic. And of course, for all the social medias and links that we've talked about today, they're all going to be in the description below. And I'm sure Tim will flash them up on screen right now. And right now, I love making you have to actually edit things. It's my new favorite thing, Tim.
I edit everything anyways.
I know, but it's like, then you have to do that little bit of extra work. Like, God damn it, now he said it. Now I have to add this in. Oh, God. Yeah, this is fantastic. Mitch, do you have any of your own personal social media that you want to plug?
I'm quite. I've got about 200 followers on Twitter. I ain't got many, but yeah, it's Mitch1889. That's my Twitter handle. Feel free to ask me where to book shows.
Help this man get to the moon.
There you go.
That's going to be our new project by the end of 2020. We want a show on the moon. That's a little too soon, isn't it? Mitch, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to talk to you and to learn a little bit more about Breed Pro Wrestling and Starrcave. And we really hope that this little loving bond we have continues on, because I love this promotion to death.
Oh, that sounds perfect to me, mate.
Fantastic. Folks, thank you so much. Go follow Breed Pro Wrestling on Twitter. Go subscribe to their Patreon, please, for the love of God. Just go give them some money. Please support them. Watch their things. It's fantastic. You can follow me on Twitter at Armwick21. Tim, where in God's name can they find you?
Well, as our subscribers know, you can basically follow me everywhere at Timmy Buddy. Again, Mitch, thank you for joining us here. I know we had to get everything logistically together with the time difference, but hey, It all worked out, and it was a great talk.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And remember, call your mom. She probably misses you.